The paradox of trading is that the very emotions that destroy traders are also what make trading possible. Without fear, there would be no selling. Without greed, there would be no buying. Without hope, there would be no speculation. The market exists because human emotion exists. To trade is to step directly into the storm of human psychology. That is why it is so dangerous. And that is why it is so powerful. Those who learn to ride the storm profit. Those who are consumed by it perish. History is filled with traders who reached heights of glory only to be undone by their own minds. They built fortunes, then lost them. They rose, fell, rose again, only to fall harder. The traps never disappeared, they only waited patiently for the moment discipline slipped. And when it did, the market showed no mercy. This cycle repeats generation after generation. New traders arrive confident that they will be different, that they will conquer the market where others failed. But most walk the same path, fall into the same traps, and pay the same price. This is why the emotional traps must be spoken of again and again. Not because they are new, but because every new trader believes they are immune. They are not. No one is. The market humbles all. Eventually. The only question is whether you will learn humility before destruction or after it. If you learn it before, you may survive. If you wait until after, you may not have anything left to continue. Fear, greed, hesitation, arrogance, revenge, these are not just mistakes. They are timeless patterns. They are the very fabric of human behavior, stitched into every trader's psyche. To pretend you are above them is to invite disaster. To admit they live within you is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom alone does not guarantee success. But without it, success is impossible. The market rewards patience, discipline, humility, and control. It punishes impulsiveness, recklessness, and pride. And yet, even knowing this, most traders will still fall. Because knowing the rule is not the same as living the rule. To live the rule requires sacrifice, the sacrifice of excitement for boredom, the sacrifice of hope for discipline, the sacrifice of pride for humility. Most traders are unwilling to pay that price. They want the thrill, the action, the rush of risk, but the rush is the drug. And like all drugs, it destroys. Those who survive learn that trading is not about excitement. It is about survival. It is about grinding day after day with discipline, so dull it feels mechanical. It is about cutting losses without hesitation, letting winners run without interference, and following rules no matter how boring. Survival is victory. Excitement is death. And yet even survival is not guaranteed. Because every day you step into the market, the traps reset. Fear waits for you at the first sign of loss. Greed waits for you at the first taste of profit. Hesitation waits for you at the critical moment of entry. Arrogance waits for you after a winning streak. Revenge waits for you after a devastating hit. They never disappear, they only wait. This is the truth most traders do not want to hear. They want to believe there is a secret formula, a hidden indicator, a strategy so perfect it removes the traps. But no strategy can remove what is inside you. The only edge that lasts is mastery over your own mind. The trader who conquers himself has already conquered the market. The trader who cannot conquer himself will never last, no matter how brilliant his system. In the end, the market is a mirror. It reflects back to you everything you are. If you are disciplined, it rewards discipline. If you are greedy, it punishes greed. If you are fearful, it punishes hesitation. If you are arrogant, it punishes pride. Every day in the market is a confrontation with yourself, and the outcome is determined not by the choices you make within. This is the first truth that every trader must learn, and the last truth they ever truly master. The emotional traps are eternal. They destroyed traders 100 years ago. and they will destroy traders 100 years from now. They destroyed legends, and they destroy beginners. They are impartial, relentless, and inevitable. The only defense is awareness, discipline, and humility. Without them, you are already lost. With them, you may survive long enough to succeed. The traps will never vanish, but they can be contained. And the trader who learns to contain them will discover that the market is not unbeatable, only unforgiving. It will never reward perfection, but it will always respect control. The greatest traders are not those who predict the future, but those who survive the present. And survival, in the end, is the ultimate victory over the traps that destroy all others. If there is one thing that becomes painfully clear as a trader matures, it is that the market will not only test your strategies, but will repeatedly test your nerve. It is not enough to know when to buy or sell. The true test is whether you can stand still when everything in your body is screaming for you to act. The emotional traps that destroy traders are rarely obvious. They appear as reasonable thoughts in the moment: I should get out before it gets worse, or I'll add more because this has to turn around. These small concessions to emotion seem harmless in isolation, but over time they chip away at the discipline that separates survival from ruin. Livermore's lesson was that the market is always waiting for the moment when discipline falters. It rewards patience rarely, but it punishes impatience relentlessly. Fear of missing out has become a modern phrase, but the core idea has always existed. A trader sees a move happening without them and feels left behind. They reason that if they don't get in now, the train will leave the station and never come back. So they jump in late, usually near the top, and almost immediately they are trapped. What they thought was an opportunity turns into regret. Livermore observed that the greatest profits were not captured by chasing sudden moves, but by sitting quietly in well-placed positions, waiting for the market to unfold. The trap of chasing is perhaps the most common emotional pitfall, because it appeals to the deepest human instinct of wanting to belong, to not be left out. Yet in trading, belonging to the crowd is often the fastest road to loss. The crowd buys at tops and sells at bottoms, and the trader who succumbs to that same urgency will find themselves in constant whipsaws. On the other side lays the fear of being wrong. Traders often refuse to exit a losing position because admitting defeat feels unbearable. Instead of cutting the loss, they rationalize. They tell themselves the market is simply testing support, or shaking out weak hands. They hold and they hope. But the market has no interest in their feelings. The small loss grows into a large one, and the account begins to bleed. Livermore would stress that hope is not a strategy. The market does not reward those who cling to hope. It rewards those who can admit quickly when they are wrong. Pride, however, blinds a trader. The trap is not the loss itself, but the unwillingness to accept it. Many fortunes have been destroyed not by a series of bad trades, but by one trade that the trader refused to let go of because their ego was too tied to being right. Another trap is the constant search for certainty. Traders want to believe that if they study enough, if they analyze enough, they will find a system that never fails. They pile indicators onto charts, read countless opinions, and spend hours trying to predict the unpredictable. But certainty in markets does not exist. There are only probabilities. The search for the perfect system is a trap that keeps traders distracted from the real work of managing emotions and discipline. Livermore often remarked that the big money was not in the buying or the selling, but in the waiting. That waiting requires embracing uncertainty, not eliminating it. The trader who demands certainty before acting will never act, or will act too late, and both outcomes are fatal in different ways. Perhaps the most dangerous emotional trap is revenge trading. After suffering a loss, many traders feel the need to immediately win it back. They double their size, force a trade, and chase a quick recovery. But revenge against the market is an illusion. The market does not know who you are, nor does it care about your feelings. It is not a person to be punished, but a force to be respected. Revenge trading only compounds the original loss, often leading to catastrophic results. Livermore would remind traders that the only enemy in the market is themselves. The market simply moves, it is the trader's reaction that determines success or failure. Seeking revenge is a reaction rooted in wounded pride, not in sound judgment. These traps are not just theories. They are lived experiences for nearly every trader who has ever touched the market. They repeat themselves because they are rooted in human nature. And human nature does not change. That is why Livermore's lessons remain relevant across centuries. Technology evolves, markets become faster, but the core emotions of greed, fear, hope, and pride remain the same. Each generation of traders falls into the same holes because they believe they will be different, that they will not make the same mistakes. And yet, without discipline, they do. So what is the way forward? The answer is not the elimination of emotion, for that is impossible. The answer is awareness and discipline. To recognize fear without succumbing to it. To acknowledge pride without letting it dictate decisions. To feel the urge of impatience but to wait anyway. To tackle loss quickly before hope can sink its claws in. This is the real battle, not against the market, but against oneself. Livermore's brilliance was not in predicting every market move, but in mastering his own reactions enough to survive and thrive. He failed often, but he learned to understand his own weaknesses and guard against them. That is why his story continues to resonate. He was not a superhuman immune to emotion. He was a man who battled the same traps as all traders, and sometimes won, sometimes lost. His lessons are not about perfection but about vigilance. At the end of the day, the market is a mirror. It reflects back the trader's own strengths and weaknesses. Those who are patient will see patience rewarded. Those who are reckless will see recklessness punished. The traps that destroy traders are the same traps that appear in life: greed, fear, pride, and impatience. The market simply magnifies them, accelerates them, and makes the consequences immediate. To study the market is to study oneself. To master trading is, in many ways, to master emotion. That is the enduring wisdom of Livermore, the recognition that the greatest obstacle is not the ticker, the chart, or the price action, but the trader who watches it.